Hi, I'm Rob Post, and today we are replacing an attic access ladder. And I want to talk to you about the different qualities of the old generation ladders versus the new ones. And we have Dave with us today. Dave's our installer, and he's going to discuss what he found when he came here today to start the process. What did you see, Dave? How easy did this thing come out?
Well, it came out very easily. It was only about 6 nails holding it in, mostly around the hinge area. It was damaged. One of the springs had popped over the pivot point, and it's common with these that the hinges end up wearing out, and that's why they get replaced.
And what did you observe before you took this thing out? How was it fitting? Was it doing its job in terms of air sealing or insulation?
Yeah, a lot of air was going up. You can see with all this dust here that air was just pouring into the attic, hot air, because it wasn't sitting tight. There's no weather stripping around it because the one hinge failed. It was about an inch hanging down from the ceiling, and it wasn't doing any good.
So this older generation ladder has little or no thermal value. It's a quarter-inch piece of plywood between the conditioned space of the house and the attic, which is unconditioned. And as Dave just pointed out, it was leaking air as well. No thermal value, no air sealing value. And although it was here for a while and it did its job, it's not nearly as durable as the ladders we like to install today. Okay, so we had a chance to point out the weaknesses in the condition of the other attic stair ladder that we pulled out. Let's turn our attention now to what we're going to install today. We're installing a new generation attic ladder, which has really neat features and durability features as well. And Dave, why don't you talk to me about your initial impressions of this unit? By the way, this is the Rainbow attic stair, and it's the Star model that we're discussing. So Dave, what are your initial impressions of this unit?
Well, my first thing that I noticed is how it's got heavy-duty pivot points on it. It has a 350-pound rating as compared to these, which are usually 250 pounds. It's an exact fit for the rough opening, a standard fit. And I also noticed that it has weather stripping around it, and it's insulated. And a nice feature too is that it doesn't have to be cut to size. You can add a tread or remove a tread, and you have an area of about a foot where it can land in. And those are all good things that I like to see.
So this is not your grandfather's attic stair. This is definitely a super duty unit that was designed for durability, which is key when thinking about sustainable choices for your home. You want something that you're going to purchase that's going to work, and it's going to work for a long time. So you're not ripping it out in 5 or 8 or 10 years and throwing it into a landfill. This is what we like to see, a durable unit that's going to be around for the life of the house. Like Dave mentioned, it's really constructed well. It's got an insulated panel which achieves R8, which is great for an attic access. It's fantastic compared to the old generation units, which were less than R1. The other feature, it has a pole. After you close the unit, you can reach up, and there's a little head that goes on this pole, and it locks. It actually engages the weather stripping. It's basically a big Super Duty catch, and when that is engaged, the weather stripping is compressed and stops any air from leaking through the unit. Dave, one more thing I want to learn from you is what kind of detailed installation steps do you take to ensure that this thing is fit well, but more importantly, or as importantly, maintains the thermal plane of the ceiling?
Well, it seemed to be a flush fit. Then it gets trimmed out, caulked around both sides of the casing, and some window and door spray foam would go all around the perimeter of it, because that would be your last weak spot after it's installed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the key. When any windows and doors, attic ladders, any penetration to the exterior of the house, the weakness is generally around the window frame, not necessarily with the unit itself. And in fact, because this is designed in the factory to be airtight and thermal, we don't have to worry about this. We have to worry about the installation. Installation is key, and Dave understands that you take your time, you fit it properly, and then you deal with the space between the rough opening and the frame. in a way that makes sense. And in this case, a window and door spray foam is going to do the trick just right. And that's it. So we're going to get this thing in and give you an update later on. Okay, here we are on the second floor. We're now putting the new rainbow attic ladder in place. You saw we removed the old one. We put up these two boards here to act as a guide so we could lay the new unit in and it would flush out with the rest of the ceiling. And all we did was place the unit in, shim it to get our distance right around the rough opening. We like to keep a distance big enough to insulate properly, so it's got to be bigger than the width of the nozzle of the can of spray foam. So we're looking for probably 3/8 of an inch, quarter to 3/8 will allow us to properly insulate around the rough opening. And Dave's up there now. He pre-drilled and he's installing the 10 lags that hold this thing in place. After we get through this, we'll take a look at how the unit functions and the rest of the process. We pre-drill to make sure we don't split the wood and to get a good solid connection. Alright, so we're done with the getting the lag bolts in. We're going to open it up and see how we did here. Want to pop it open, Dave? Great. So everything's secure, you got all 10 lags in there. The nice thing about this unit is if you have standard 8-foot ceilings, this thing's ready to go out of the box.
About 7.5 to 8 foot 2.
So it's got an 8-inch range?
Yeah, about or more.
So this ladder, as it's configured from the factory, will work within an 8-inch range of ceiling heights, which is really nice from an installation standpoint. And that's it. That's the ladder extended. Heavy duty, you know, it's ready to go. We need to finish up the install. We need to cut the shims. We need to do the trim. Air seal around the perimeter as we discussed before with the spray foam, and then do some touch-up painting, and this baby's finished. Measure twice. Cut once. We like to build the frame on the ground and make sure all the corners are snug. That way we can put it up in one piece. It makes it a lot easier to manage, and installation is a breeze. Using a brad nailer to secure the frame to the ceiling is a quick way to do it. We snug up the corners and make sure our joints are flush. Caulking the seams on both sides of the casing. And the all-important air sealing and insulating of the gap between the attic ladder frame and the rough framing of the opening. This will ensure no air leakage into the attic. Some final painting, and this project is finished. We're finished the installation, and we want to give you a little demonstration on how the unit works. But before we do that, Dave, were you happy with the install?
Yeah, I thought it came out great. It was easy to install, and it's a good product, good sturdy attic access.
Yeah, it's a great product. I really like the thermal properties and the air sealing properties. That's what makes me the happiest. But you'll see when we open and close this thing just how well it seals shut. Why don't you open it a little bit and then close it and show them how positive that engagement is. Nice solid engagement. It's really a piece of cake. It's a great piece of equipment. It's well engineered, and I think it went in reasonably well. I think easier than the old-fashioned wooden ones, frankly. There was no measuring, no figuring out where to cut off the legs to make it work. It really, out of the box, the thing went in beautifully. Well, why don't we give it a try?
All right.
After you. At Post Energy Audits, we're passionate about increasing your comfort level in your house while decreasing your utility bills. Thanks for taking the time to watch the installation of the Rainbow Attic Ladder.